Hello everyone, welcome. Today I'm speaking to Kirstie Simson, a dance improvisation artist. And I first met Kirstie a few years ago when she was speaking and performing at a conference entitled Deep Connection. And those words give you a little flavour of her approach to movement and dance, which we're going to get right into. Before we do, though, I just want to read her biography. It's full of amazing information, so I'm actually going to read this. And so let me tell you, Kirstie Simson has been a continuous explosion in the contemporary dance scene, bringing audiences into contact with the vitality of pure creation in moment after moment of virtuoso improvisation. Called a force of nature by the New York Times, she's an award-winning performer and teacher who's immeasurably enriched and expanded the boundaries of new dance, according to Time Out magazine. Kirstie's internationally renowned today as an excellent teacher, a captivating performer, and a leading light in the field of dance improvisation, with a dance practice that spans over 4 decades. From 2008 to 2020, Kirstie held a position as a tenured professor in the Department of Dance at the University of Illinois. In August 2020, Kirstie returned to her home base in Wales, from where she continues to deepen the investigation of her work, sharing her findings with others around the globe. Kirstie is framing her work now in the light of our uncertain future, as practices that can help us develop resilience in the face of challenge. She uses her own experience of facing a life-threatening health issue as a foundation for ongoing research into the wisdom and healing powers we discover through listening deeply into our embodied intelligence. Kirstie, a very warm welcome to you. It's lovely to connect again. It's been a few years. How are you?
I'm good. Or
Good.
Touch wood.
Good.
Yeah.
And you're up in Edinburgh because you were performing there yesterday. Is that right?
That's right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you travel a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I travel a lot. I don't know. I've actually always traveled. So my father was in the army, so we traveled every 3 years. When I was little, we traveled. It's in my blood. And
Yes.
when I started doing this kind of work, I just traveled, and I've had the great good fortune of going to many, many cultures around the world and sharing my insights into the moving body, and
Yes. Yes.
enjoying their interpretation of movement in their cultures. So
Yeah. Great. So I don't know a great deal about dance. I was saying to you earlier, I did ballet growing up. Loved it. Always loved it. Loved doing it. Loved watching it. But it's a very different form of dance to what you do now. Ballet is very controlled, very precise. And as I understand it, you were never very comfortable with this sort of controlled form of dance and the sort of whipping your body into shape and into behaving in very precise ways. And I think very soon after your 3-year formal training at college in dance, you were in a class. I think it was down in Dartington College in Devon. Is that right? Yeah. So near to where I am now. And you had quite a profound experience during that class. Something awoke in you during that time. Would you mind telling us that story?
oh, not at all, not at all. Yeah, so I was fresh out of college, and my training, that kind of training, and mostly how we're trained in general, was that I had to build myself up into something. So I had to acquire all these skills to become worthy of and good enough and all of these things. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was where I was at the time. And then I went down to Dartington and I met Steve Paxton, who was the initiator, the founder of a form of dance called contact improvisation, which is a form of dance that you do in connection with others. So actual physical connection. So the fundamentals of that is that the body's always falling. So it's it's the ability to acknowledge and accept that it essentially in our world we cannot control. We cannot control life. We cannot control what happens. You know, we can prepare ourselves as best as possible and all of that. But this form really liberated something in me. Okay, so in order to let go in that way, we have to start to find the foundations. You know, we work with gravity and all of that. But anyway, so this experience happened in my second class with Steve Paxton. And he had asked us in an exercise to lean against another person and to share a common center. So instead of being separate like this, he asked us to come together and lean. And so it is a trust exercise. You have to trust that person will be there. So it works on that level. And as I was there leaning against this person, this incredibly clear voice spoke from somewhere within me to me and said, everything you will ever need in this life is already inherently present within you. And it was absolutely a clear communication of something that came from within my being, my body. And for some reason, I understood that this was in a way, the experience, a knowledge that was coming to me from somewhere, and hearing it and recognizing it changed my life forever. Because in that moment, I understood, actually, it's not about building myself into something. It's actually about undoing all of the things that I've been taught, that teaching me that I'm not good enough really as I am. I've got to build myself into something. I've got to start to let go of all of those things to discover what I am intrinsically, who I am, what my unique voice is, in the midst of a choir of unique voices. So in context of the whole of us, all of us have distinct and unique voices. And we're all here to share those voices as part of our contribution to life. So I understood in that moment that this is what life and my life was going to be about. And it was massive. It was massive. It changed my life.
So there's a lovely article that you've written about your life's story and journey with dance. And I'm going to put the link below this video because I think people will really enjoy reading that. But in that article, you talk about that experience and you say afterwards, it was like an ecstatic experience. You say you were running through fields, and I think you were in awe of this, this experience and what it was bringing to you.
Yes, absolutely. And I made a choice in that moment. I understood in that moment something was trying to teach me. It wasn't going to be about me imposing. And I, on my body, trying to form my body into something. It was about listening deeply to my body and seeing what it was telling me. And my body, for me, then I realized was a vehicle for life itself. So life as the teacher was speaking to me through my body. So at that point, I decided I don't want to acquire knowledge about my body. I want to find a way, and I had to find a way. You have to, we live in the world of form. We have to find forms. I wanted to find forms that opened up this space of listening, as opposed to forms that I was imposing on my body and trying to acquire, perfect, show, demonstrate, polish. Do you know what I mean? That there was a different kind of way of being in my body and so that's what I did. And it's quite vulnerable because in a way I don't have, knowledge in a certain, I don't know a lot about my body in a certain way. I know a huge amount in another way because it's been shown to me over these 45 years really of doing these practices. So
just going back a bit earlier, had you loved to dance from childhood?
Not really. I was always physically gifted. So of course at school and that you go into sports. That sports is the place. And I used to love it. I used to love running after balls. I had very good eyeball connection.
Right.
I used to love it all until the point where I started to realize that the context for sport was competition. And competition was all about beating other people. If I pursued this in my life, it would always be about trying to beat other people. And I knew at that point when I was very young, I did not want to spend my life. Why would I want to beat other people all the time? Intuitively, I knew I wanted to work with other people. I wanted to collaborate and be with rather than trying, always having to win over or against or.
Yeah. That's really a sentiment of our times, isn't it? Because we're really moving, on many levels from this understanding that it's survival of the fittest, we have to be in competition, into a much deeper understanding that actually it's all about collaboration. And that's what actually drives a lot of our evolution. It's not about working against, it's about working together.
Yeah.
This feels like a deep foundation of everything you've done.
Very deep, very deep. And I think we all have to realize there is a personal work we have to do to undo that conditioning because we have carried it for so long. It is so intrinsically within us to compete that there is a real work that each one of us has to find a way of doing to start to undo. And that's exactly what I meant about undoing these erroneous ideas so that we can come to what is inherently there, what life is calling for right now from us.
Yeah. So how has dance helped you to undo, to sort of get out of the way, allow the expression to come in a pure form? How have you done that through dance?
Well, there's something about improvisation,
Mm.
of course, akin to life. It's a life process. Like I said before, we can't control life. So to develop the skills to be able to accept what life gives to us, which is a very big thing, right? To accept, including the highs and the lows and the suffering and the illnesses and everything, to accept it. And then to actually work with it to transform it from a negative narrative, I will call it, to a positive, something positive, that life has given us something to learn from. So this is what one does when one improvises. So when I improvise with people in performance, I go out and I don't know, I have no rules. Nobody's told me what I have to do. I don't have steps. I have simply this ability to listen to my collaborators. We start to move and I'm listening to what's happening in the space between us. And I'm starting to allow my being to flow. It's like a sense of flowing. It's a sense of allowing my body very naturally, just like what animals do when they're together. Just like the birds, those flocks of birds that they're flowing together. They never crash. They never touch. We can't understand that as humans, but there is a way to move together where that is happening. And that's what I'm listening to. So I go out with nothing. I accept whatever comes in my path as I'm doing that. And then I find a way to transform that into something that speaks in a way. And what it starts to speak is a philosophy of being that comes from the body. And it's very hard to describe how that is and what that is, but it is something that is happening and does happen. And this is how my practices have evolved in a way. It's literally in a philosophy of being that has come through practicing this thing.
So when you're performing then, do you go on stage with any idea of, you said there are no steps, do you have any idea of the way you're going to move? Or does it just come through you in that moment?
Well, it depends who I'm performing with.
Yes.
Depends at what level they are of the trust, because it's to do with fundamental trust that everything's already there, you see.
Yeah.
When I go into a space, I feel everything is already there, it's waiting for me, and I give myself to it. So if I'm with somebody else that has that depth of trust in front of an audience, and the audience, of course, when you have an audience, you feel like you've got to do something very good.
Yes.
And like you said, entertain.
Yes.
It takes a huge amount of courage in a way to just stand there and say, I am enough. We are enough. We have everything that it takes. And to let our humanity guide us And, you know, nowadays more it's my heart, I feel, that's guiding my improvisation. If I'm with somebody that is at the similar level of trust as I am, we can go out there with absolutely nothing at all.
Really?
And
That's amazing.
yeah, and it will, the performance, the improvisation will start to emerge and show itself. And it's very difficult for us to understand that, because we think as humans, unless I do something, nothing's going to happen. Unless I do something.
Yeah.
But you know, you look around us at the world we live in, the kind of creation that's occurring. It's all happening. We have to learn to listen to that. We have to learn to understand we're a part of that, and that is happening through us, you know, and we have to start to learn to listen. And we start to realize that it's all of our doing, all of our imposing that is destroying, causing the destruction that's happening on our planet. So there is a calling to listen very deeply. So if I'm with somebody of a, you know, who's really done this, researched this work deeply and can sustain that, we'll go together without being without being pushed by fear, you know, because fear will push you to do things. You know what I mean? Relax in that kind of challenge, in the face of that kind of challenge with this audience waiting. It's my greatest love.
It sounds quite excruciating to me to think of that, you know, the need to fill that gap.
Yes, but that's it. But you've said it. You've said it. That is what drives us humans.
Yes.
The need to fill the gap. I mean, look at what we're a part of.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but we don't stop long enough.
No.
To let that in.
Yeah.
And to let in that we are a part of that. We are being created anew every day. I mean, they say that now about the body is renewing itself. Every 7 years, it's a different body.
Yeah.
So we're constantly in process.
Yes.
But we are so afraid of that gap.
Yes, we are indeed.
We're terrified of it, you know?
Yeah.
And as a teacher of improvisation, what I do is I lead people into that space in a way where they feel deeply safe. They feel seen and cared for. And what they then find is that it's a natural process. And many people, when they experience it, they go, oh, I'm remembering. I'm remembering. So it's not new. It's something that is intrinsically present. And they remember it. And it's very, very affirming, life affirming. It also helps in a kind of process of transforming from a fear-driven relationship to life to one in which you feel you are part of life, and that your voice then, you know, you can give your voice, and your voice is intrinsically important. It's not you that's important as a separate ego, but everything that we've come into this life with is important. Life needs each one of us, you know. So that process of practicing, if you want, going into those spaces and not feeling like you have anything, feeling the vulnerability, not feeling you have to suddenly produce something, and being able to just sit in that vulnerability together. That's where our hearts open. It's where our hearts open to each other. We realize our vulnerabilities. We start to support each other and see each other, and something very different starts to emerge. And it's incredibly beautiful.
I was going to say, how do you bring students into this place? And I'm guessing what you're saying is for them to feel safe is the key.
It's the key. And what you start to realize, there's a process of embodiment that is our safety. So this is going to sound very not interesting. This is going to sound very simple in one way, but it's true. If you can, most of us, because we're so driven by our minds, by what we want to attain, by the next goal that we're going for, by what, you know, so we're out of our bodies. We don't feel our weight. We don't feel the presence of our weight. Gravity gives us a sense of weight, a sense of connection to this earth. When you are not sensing that, you're not safe. When you're out of your body, you're not safe. If you can guide people into feeling their weight, and I call it your place on this planet, you feel through your weight. So I'll always start with the earth. I'll always start having people lie on the earth, feeling the body of the earth, you know, and breathing, a beautiful kind of like easy breathing. I can share something later on, perhaps for people, and then building up from there. So you start in a place where you feel safe, and then you start to build up, and then if I get it right, which these days I'm getting it right more and more,
Yeah.
people start doing it before they even realize they're doing it. Because,
Right.
because it feels so lovely to move
Yeah.
the body in a free way, in a way
Yeah.
that's supported, where other people are supporting you. They're not looking at you as critics, as other, but they're with you in the experience of moving your body. One of the most beautiful things, and we're designed to do that. Our bodies are designed to move. We have all these joints and things to
Yeah.
explore. When we are imposing movement on our bodies, we're not able to feel what's happening in the body. We're trying to acquire something. We're trying to attain. As soon as
Yeah.
you start to come into the feeling of your body moving, we love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
mean, even you speaking about this is making me think, oh, I'd like to try this. Yeah.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
To just allow it rather
Yes.
than think, oh,
Yes.
I need to do this, just
Yes.
to allow it, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What people don't realize, and this is something that I didn't realize, but is coming more and more into my awareness, is if we allow our bodies to go to that place, something starts to emanate from our bodies, and it's a meditative field. I know that it's the field of love. I know it is.
Right.
The
Right.
meditative field that starts to emanate from our bodies when we listen to them. When we move together in a space that feels safe with others that are supporting us and, with the earth that is supporting us all, when we start to move, a field emerges, and in that field, there is nothing to worry about. You don't then worry about yourself. The worrying about ourselves is because we feel separate, you know what I mean, from,
Yes.
and we
Yes.
feel there's a space there, a gap that we have to fill. That's
Yeah.
fear, that's the worry. It happens in that space. But when we start listening to this glorious intelligence that we are, it's a process of life, literally.
Yes. Yes.
That's to emanate. And then it's just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people, connect deeply to their bodies, to the body, the intelligence, I will move differently to you, but essentially it's, we are bodies, we are embodied beings,
So this really sounds like you're talking about coherence here, coming into coherence with your own body, but also when you're dancing with others, coming into coherence with them. And it sort of really touches in very deeply to some work that my colleague, Peter Granger, he's one of the co-founders of the Awakening Heart Collective, along with myself and Louise Livingstone. His work is all about looking at connections between people and how the energy field that we emanate from the body, particularly the strongest being from our heart, how when we are with others, that will particularly if we've got a very coherent heart field, that will entrain other people's energy patterns into a similar pattern, and you come into coherence with that other person. And he's actually doing work with dancers and other artists at the moment, measuring, because he's developed tools to measure how we communicate through these energy fields and how we can bring each other into this coherence with one another. Interestingly, he's looked at how dancers, he's been working with the Royal Ballet, how dancers create these coherent fields, but not only with each other, but also with the audience, which I think is amazing.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you feel that when you're performing, that sort of connection when the audience also come into the same rhythm. And
that's what I do when I perform.
Right.
Absolutely what I do. And I've been interested in that forever, because I did not, again, it's always, for me, it's challenging our ideas of separation. Always bring, what can we do to come together? And so it's very easy as a dancer to feel that this audience is there to judge us. So we create together, we create as we do with each other. How can we include them in this field?
Yes.
But it is the field. It is field of life. It's life, you know, this is the thing. And how can we align ourselves with life? And then this will happen. And that's, so these practices have become my life practice. So I live that. I live in that field, you know. And, you know, yeah. What's really interesting to me is that, you know, I have undergone 2 cancer,
Yeah.
you know, 2 bouts of cancer. It was these practices and the acceptance of the cancer that came to me. Life gave that to me, not rejecting, not, you know, the acceptance of it. It was like entering the most real improvisation of my life.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just take us back to that, because as I understand, and people can read about this, as I say, in your article, but the cancer was fairly recent, so you'd already been on a real journey with the dance, and we've seen how you moved into working with improvisation, and how that brought you know, a whole nother level to your dance.
Yeah.
And how that took you on a healing journey, I guess. I think you had quite a challenging childhood. You mentioned in your article your father was an alcoholic, so you had trauma. As most of us do. You were carrying that, and I think I'm right in saying that this way of dancing allowed you to process some of that, I guess, to express. So you've been on a real journey. Maybe you want to touch in some of that now, but but then you got the cancer diagnosis much more recently. So I'm guessing that opened up a whole nother world in terms of the healing journey that you needed to go on. Now we were talking on a very physical level. So maybe if you can tell us a bit about that journey of healing you've been on.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a fascinating thing. You know, I think it's I think, let's see how I can say all of this. Yes, through my practices, I did a huge amount of, in a way, understanding trauma.
Right.
And working with trauma. And I would say what started to happen was I started to understand. I always thought it was my trauma.
Right.
I always thought it was my thing. I had to work it out. I had to, do you know what I mean? What more and more I've started to understand, no, this is life itself. This is where we as humans are at this point in our evolution where we're carrying huge amounts of trauma that have been passed down. You know what I mean? And I did realize my work in this life is to not pass on the trauma that I have been passed, to undo it all, And this is what I do. This is what I have done. This is what I felt my responsibility to life has been, to undo this trauma. I don't have children, so it's not about me passing or not passing it on down the line in that way, but to my students.
Yeah.
So when I first started teaching, I was terrified that I was going to pass on my trauma because I had experienced that from other teachers.
Right.
I could feel it. I could feel it coming through them. So again, I felt this responsibility to undo the trauma. But I started to realize this is us. It's not, do you know what I mean? So immediately that started to support me a lot more instead of this isolated feeling of having to deal with my trauma. However, I had to deal with my stories, you know what I mean? And I did that through the dance, through the improvisation. I mean, a simple story about my father could be, you know, that he was a very beautiful man, but he was damaged from fighting in World War II. I think he was a very sensitive man. He had to kill other people. He had to kill them. He carried that on his conscience.
Yeah.
You know, he carried that on his conscience. And so, you know, to avoid that pain, because I think in their generations, there was less known about dealing with trauma, you know.
Yeah.
So to get away from that pain, he drank and he became a maniac. When he drank, he became a maniac. He did not physically abuse us, but he verbally abused in a most outrageous way. He just became. so I grew up with this, and then I discovered this form, contact improvisation, which was all about the heart, was all about coming together, it was being together. But then I started to perform it. So in performance, you are on the spotlight, and of course, your ego is kind of on the line there.
Okay.
I would get in there and we would rehearse in the studio with a few of us before we performed. It would be beautiful and loving and all that. We get on stage and some people would turn into my father. Not that they would scream at me, but they would do things because it looked good at my expense. And because being in a heightened state when you're performing, you feel it like being stabbed in the back, because at that point they don't care about you, they care more about themselves. I said to myself when I experienced all this, what can I do in my practice that I will never do that to anybody else? That I will never put myself, do you know what I mean, before others, that I will be there for us all. What do I have to do in my practice? And I took that on. And through doing that, I started to heal my relationship with the trauma of my father.
And then did you find that those dynamics didn't appear so much when you were dancing? You didn't feel that energy?
I knew how to deal with them. I knew how to deal with them. I knew how to teach as I was performing. If somebody started to do that kind of thing, I knew exactly how to respond in a way that taught them in the performance that you don't do that kind of thing to other people. But it was almost, I didn't have to speak it. It was through my embodiment, through what I chose, what my body in a way chose to respond. So I was no longer afraid and victimized by that experience of having grown up with that with my father, but I was consciously starting to shift. You know what I mean? To shift the dynamics of that so that I could teach in not blame.
No.
I knew that those things come about because we're all traumatized. We all carry trauma. You know what I mean? So we all do things that and that we don't want to be doing half the time. So, but I became then an agent of being able to repair some of that stuff, not just for myself, but for others through my body. And that's how it's been,
This
so
is
that,
profound insights, profound healing, and profound teachings that you're able to pass on to others. So, I mean, it's incredible, but carry on with that story. Yes.
So this is what I've dedicated my life to in these practices. And it's my understanding of what's actually happening, it has been intuitive. My understanding, my intellect has caught up with it.
Yes.
My understanding that, we have to find a different way of living on this planet together. And my understanding that in these practices themselves of improvisation, which is a practice of life, there are some ways that we can start to do that. And it was something I intuited at the very beginning. This is going to show me a different way of living. And that's what I went after. And these are all the examples of it. So then in 2020, I got this diagnosis of triple negative breast cancer, which is pretty, and we also carry these strange story ideas in our cultures that, if you're a certain kind of person doing a certain kind of work, healthy, vegetarian, you won't get cancer. Of course you won't. So when they first saw that there was something wrong in this screening, people would say to me, oh, you won't get cancer. Well, I got it, and I got it bad. I got it at the initial stages, luckily, but the type of cancer is one of the most aggressive breast cancers. And they discovered I was BRCA too, which is a genetic makes you So it's it's a fault in a gene that we carry those genes that protect us. If there's a fault, then it makes you more susceptible to BRCA genes, ovarian and breast cancer. And then I went through surgery, mastectomy and ovaries.
And this was this during lockdown?
Yeah, this was during lockdown. So I was on my own. Nobody came with me. So I was doing this improvisation. It was amazing. I was practicing. I was doing my practice
on your own.
On my own. Yeah, on my own. I was at home on my own. I was but what started to happen, of course, was that for the first time I was vulnerable, deeply vulnerable, and people, doctors, nurses, friends, family, people I didn't even know started to rally for my life in small and big ways. The surgeons, the nurses, my family, people that bought me food and left it outside the door because it was locked down. I started to let in that people loved me.
Right.
For the first time, I started
Right.
to let that in. I'd always given to others.
Okay.
Strong and independent. I had a certain kind of ability to understand things.
Yes.
Gave this, and I never let in that people actually cared for me. And it was the first time I did.
Wow. That is a big lesson.
Huge, huge.
It's a lesson that's very commonly linked to breast cancer,
Is it?
as I'm sure, well, you may be aware.
Yeah.
Very often it is about women have given out to others and not been
Okay.
seen. So, because I was imagining that you maybe thought, gosh, I've done years of this work, and you know, I've evolved, I've grown, I've healed, and now I get cancer. Was it quite a shock?
It was a shock.
Yeah.
What was more of a shock was how it was delivered to me, to be honest with you, because maybe it was because it was the pandemic, but I don't think so. I was ushered into this room, left in that room alone with a packet of tissues in front of me. I saw the packet of tissues. I went, oh, okay, here we go.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. The doctor came in and sat in a chair on the other side of the room and told me the news. Now, it was a shock, but the thing that was more shocking to me was that she didn't sit next to me and put her arm around me. Even she could have been masked. We could have been masked. I think it was, you know, this, funnily enough, this was more shocking to me. The inhumane way that it was delivered than the actual thing itself. For some reason, it was that shocked me more. And so I don't know why, but I never really questioned the fact that I'd been given this diagnosis. I don't know why. And it was maybe because of these years of improvisation training, I just accepted. This is what life is given to me. I have a relationship to life that I feel life is fundamentally positive. It's something I was asked to make a real soul decision about by a teacher of mine years back. Is life fundamentally positive or fundamentally negative? No matter what happens, one are you going to choose? And it took a long time of soul searching to make a choice that life is fundamentally positive. So in that moment, I just accepted. And then, interestingly, this thing started to happen. I started to, as I went through the journey, when I met the doctors or the nurses, I started to really connect with their humanity. And I enjoyed it. It was so weird. I actually enjoyed meeting these situations, meeting humanity in the people that were caring for me, caring for them as they cared for me. And it transformed what could have been a nightmare if I'd been afraid and alone and these feelings to something that I actually enjoyed. I felt a heightened state of being.
And how did those practitioners relate to you? How did that change?
Well, I have no idea really, except I do know that, for instance, the surgeon, when she told me, we were discussing the mastectomy, I said to her, I don't think it's going to bother me because I'm around flat-chested dancers all the time. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's really going to bother me. And she said, this is interesting. She said, I've worked with 2 other dancers who've had mastectomies, and they all have had the same response as you.
Oh, really?
Whereas other women, it is devastating. And I understand it's devastating and I respect that. But it's an interesting thing.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting thing that there's, somehow some acceptance. And what's been extraordinary is, so I think she was amazed in a way by this response that come from dancers. But what has been extraordinary to me, 2 things. One that is a sad reflection of our culture is I feel safer without breasts.
Really? Okay.
Because I go out alone on my own in Wales, rural Wales. I swim in the rivers naked but I feel safer. The other thing which has amazed me was I feel more myself like this.
Really? Gosh.
Amazing. And I would never have expected that. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. And now in my performance, I actually dance in a certain part of it without my top on.
Right.
I want to share with everybody that it's not something to be afraid of. Do you know what I mean? It's in a way, for me, I want to share that it is about being transparent. We don't have to hide all these things. We don't have to feel ashamed about these things.
Yeah.
We don't have to feel ashamed about our bodies.
Mm.
This is something that culture imposes on us. This perfect body ideal, which is insane because it's unattainable. We are indoctrinated with that as women, as men now as well, you know, or sexualized or anything. And I want to share that I am who I am, and I'll always be who I am, no matter what happens to my body.
Yeah.
And
That's
what I do.
really powerful.
It is.
So the acceptance thing, just wanted to come back to that, because I know a lot of people, when we talk about acceptance and surrender, they struggle to imagine how it could be to come into acceptance of something that's frightening. I mean, I'm guessing it's taken you a long time to sort of move into that place where you can see any challenges that come up as positive, or from a positive, I guess, an opportunity to grow and learn, and to therefore be able to accept it in that way.
Yes, I mean, that's what my 45 years of dance improvisation practice has been all about, you know, and as I've lived, I see life, you see, as life throws us these curveballs, and I see them as life challenging us and saying, okay, how strong are you?
Yeah.
Are you going to turn into a cynical? Are you going to turn cynical and turn your back on me? Or are you going to understand that this is an opportunity for transformation? It might take you into death, but death itself is a transformation.
Yeah.
Transforming.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is, but I know that it's a transforming. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, we live in a terribly cynical age. We're given terribly cynical narratives around life, death, or everything. We're in an age where it's much better to be cool and cut off than it is to be in our hearts and actually embracing what life gives to us. Transparency, I think, is a very important thing, because when you talk out, you realize there's hearts that are there to support you. You know, and the more that we can do that for each other, the more that we can undermine the shame that people often, you know, they often kind of pull back because of a sense of shame, because of a sense there must be something wrong. I've done something wrong. You know, I receive other people's fear responses. So when I was going through it, I would just go out and I would just tell everybody what was going on. You know, it was funny. I would go out in my little Twingo pizzazz car, have my coffees and speak to everybody. And the good Lord, the hearts that came back would preempt their fear that they might do the wrong thing when they saw that I had you know, it was obvious I was going through chemo and all that. But yeah, so it took me a long time of practicing. And it's practicing improvisation so that I'm prepared as much as I can be to meet the unknown and to meet, and not trying to control everything all the time so that things don't happen. We can't do that. We in fear if we do that. We have to start shifting. But in order to do that, we have to be together. We can't, this is a solo. And this is what I'm realizing.
Yeah, this is a key point I wanted to touch on. You do say in your article that life-changing experience you happened early on after college.
Yeah.
You realized in that moment that you'd only had that deep realization because you were in a process with someone else.
Yes.
So connection is key.
Connection is key.
Say a bit more about that.
I mean, it's actually amazing that you're saying that, because I'm really realizing. So I'm really realizing I pursued all of that work with this sense of a different possibility, and it was a sense of being able to live together, be together in the process of living, not isolated. Not having to prove, not having to fight, not having to win over others, but to literally be together and sharing our humanity. I had this intimation that this is a possibility. that experience did come about because I was sharing.
Yes.
Paxton brought us together. So why I'm being blown away is because what I realize now is
yes,
what happened when I got cancer and I allowed in that people loved me was I opened my heart in a way that I had never done before. And it closed the circle. I had given a lot of love, but it closed the circle where I was intrinsically a part of that.
Yes.
I did not have to stand apart in any way and give. I was part of the whole circle of love, if you want to say it like that. What has happened since that time is a process of love that is unfolding through my being. And this has initiated a heart process with a young gay man that I met. We connected because he's a beautiful dancer. He's also a frontline NHS emergency practitioner.
Right.
He works with dancers around the issues of health. He's very, very drawn to health. This is what brought us together. I just instinctively said, we have to collaborate. And I never say that to people I don't know because I check them out first.
Yes.
But something about him, I said, we've got to do this. And this has initiated a process that we started working maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but last December, when we were working together in Switzerland, something happened in my heart.
Right.
I felt my heart opening. It was very small, it was very subtle, but because I'm so in tune with my body, I felt it. And I went, oh my goodness, this has to do with this young man.
Yes.
And somehow I said, I've got to tell him. I knew I had to tell him. I could have not. And then, but I knew I had to tell him. So I told him and he said, I feel the same about you.
Wow.
And it has started this heart process. It is a relationship, but it's not anything to do with any other idea of a relationship I've ever known. He's young. I'm as old as his mother.
Yes.
Gay. We do not have sex, but we have this incredible intimacy that is coming from a deep, deep sense of love between each other.
Wow.
And it's a process that is showing us how to live. I can't tell you in a deep, deep union. What has happened, which is so extraordinary for me, is he is seeing who I am at my depth, and I am seeing who he is at his depth.
Okay.
So he is calling from me an even deeper connection to life than I've ever known. And I'm speaking it out now because he's seen it. I am doing the same for him. He really understood. He's a brilliant mind. He's in the patriarchal system, highly successful in that system. I am not. I'm a woman. It's been very hard to exist, to find my way in these systems.
Yeah.
But he is also incredibly drawn to my voice, which is the female, which is the other. It's the yin yang. It's the
yeah.
So in a way, we're in this extraordinary process. And I know as a young man, he's going to take this work that we're doing together on, and he's going to be very, very important in these worlds because he's going to straddle these worlds. And what I know now is that we have to bring the male and the female together. We have to do it. To realize our potential as humans, we have to do it. We're in a very deep process of bringing the yin yang together, and it's deeply challenging. Incredible. I've never been so challenged in my life. And it's hard.
What's challenging about it, just out of interest? What's most challenging about that?
On a very deeply personal level, it's challenging the deepest conditioning in me as a woman. To be in this, I don't know if I can really talk to this. I will really try, but to be in this deep connection with a young white male who is hugely successful in the patriarchy.
Right.
Not to go to that place where I want to elicit all the deep anger in me and in women for having had our voices so subjugated for so long. I understand that what has been taken from men is a deep tragedy. Their ability to feel has been taken from them. I have been able on the margins of life to feel, and I feel deeply, deeply. This is the work that we're doing together. In a way, I'm teaching him to feel. He's challenging me to stay in that field of love with him, despite the anger, despite the way I want to blame, despite when his male conditioning emerges, when he succeeds in places I can't succeed, what do I have to do to stay? How do I have to transform in myself in order to support the love that is there? It's incredibly challenging. I did a lot of spiritual work, but I never got to this depth.
Right.
Deeply personal work with the conditioning of the female and the male. And it's very amazing what's happening, actually. And I know that all the rehearsals I've done, that moment of coming together all those years ago where I felt the intimation, this part, and I mean, the last part of my life here, I've been given this thing, which to me is phenomenal, to do with the heart opening, to do with this thing that's happening with this young man.
Yes.
I never dreamt. I thought I would go out of here a solo flyer. I've been a solo flyer all my life. This thing has been given to me through the cancer, and I am now really coming to the depth of what it was that I intimated back then, of the work that I have to do. And in a certain kind of way, I feel like I'm doing it for all of us.
I was just going to say this. I feel like this process you're going through is a forerunner of what we're all going to go through on some level, and what the whole of humanity is going to go through and is beginning to go through, which is, it is a rebalancing of the male and female. And at the moment we're seeing a lot of the rising up of the feminine, which is all amazing and wonderful, and it needs to happen to rebalance. But ultimately it's about the two coming together and meeting, isn't it?
And it's incredibly important that women realize, you know, right now, apparently young men are committing suicide at a huge rate. I can't, as a woman, just glorify in my voice starting to be heard when I know that there are young men that are killing themselves because they cannot now, they do not have the, you know what I mean? They do not know what their place is anymore. I have to help. And how I can help is giving my power, sharing my power with the male. And the male,
each other. It is a balance. It's not about one over the other.
No. Otherwise, we'll do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Do we not think that women wouldn't do the same thing?
Yes, of course.
We were the ones that. I'm sorry. There will be people that won't agree with this. There will be. But I would say, all of the ancient Eastern philosophies, yin yang is the importance. It's the balance of the male female in ourselves, as ourselves.
Yes.
In between us.
Yes.
The planet itself, it's the yin yang. It has to be together.
And we have had societies where women were dominating. You know, you go back far enough and we did. The pendulum has swung both ways. But really sorry, carry on.
No, but it cannot be about domination.
No.
This is what we've got to get now. It cannot be any more about anybody dominating anybody else. And we in the Western cultures can really take that on because we have perpetrated heinous acts in this whole notion of domination, thinking that we know and that we impose and eradicate anything that does not adhere to our. So if only the women, you know, lead, it'll be the same story. If only the men lead, as we, it's the same story. So it has to be this work to come together, and it is deeply challenging. I feel sometimes that I'm actually betraying women.
Yeah, I can see where you feel that. Yeah,
because I'm not getting angry and like pointing the finger. No, but I'm trying to really allow this heart, what we were talking about, that starts to emanate from our beings, connecting to this heart space. I'm going to allow myself to stay. What do I have to do to stay in that? And we are helping each other do that together. And we said we've got to dance this. So this duet is coming through. This is what we shared yesterday. And the duet itself is interesting because we thought at first, well, we've got to create this thing. So we had all these ideas.
Yeah.
we knew we had to make photographs. So we went with a photographer up onto the hills in Wales on a beautiful day. And we started to dance together, and something started to happen. And it was this field started to emerge. And we said, that's the duet. We have to let this duet tell us what it is that it needs to be. And this thing has emerged and is now a thing that we share. The audience is fully in it. We also share our stories. So Charlie, you know, as a medic in medicine, he takes people into death. People die when he's caring for them. You know, he also allows them, brings them, shepherds them back into life. So he's speaking about that in the context of the performance. I'm speaking about my story with cancer, what I've learned, that I understand now that cancer is the greatest gift that life has ever given me. And it has totally transformed the narrative about cancer, which is a dark one. It's a dark one. It has totally transformed it. And in a way, that is my healing. It is my healing. It does not mean that I necessarily won't come back. I don't know, but it is my healing. So we share those stories. We share it within this field of love that the audience is part of. And then the conversations that we have afterwards, we always have an open conversation. Are so beautiful.
I bet they are.
They are so beautiful. And they're coming from that resonance.
Yeah.
What you were talking about research, us being together, talking about issues that are hard to talk about, that have been pushed aside, pushed down, unspoken, you know, you know, nobody should speak about these things, taboos. No, we need to speak about them together within that field of love. We cannot speak about them outside of that.
No.
They're too difficult, but we come into a field of love together and we can speak about all these things.
Well, yeah, you're opening up that space, aren't you, to allow all of that to come. And this really, really, you've mentioned heart several times, but this is everything about the heart, because the heart, I call the heart our master connector, because it sits in the place of oneness where the opposites meet. Always in every aspect, including the male and female. And we need those opposites in order to realize the oneness that helps us to realize that oneness. And that's what the heart is about. And when we come into that field of love opens up, which is exactly what you're talking about.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely that. It's absolutely that. And this context with Charlie, which is, it's phenomenal to me because it's exactly what you talked about. He has so much knowledge, that young man. So much knowledge about the body, about this, about I chose at that time when I had that experience not to learn anything about my body. I did not want any knowledge. I did not want to have seen anything or acquire anything. I wanted my body to speak to me. It's a very vulnerable place to be. It's my practice. But you see, we've come together from these opposite places. And we're coming together and we're meeting. So that both of those things will be viable, important, but they will be in balance. It has been always that where he stands has been the thing that has been on top in the hierarchy. The knowledge. Knowledge. You know, this thing of not having anything, but having this incredible trust in life, this incredible wisdom, in a sense, that life comes, you know, speaks through one if one does not if one opens oneself to it. And this is coming together, and you know, it is exactly what you're talking about. And I'm discovering who I am through us. I am because we are.
And it's, I mean, he's epitomizing the masculine, and it doesn't always happen that that's the male, but in this case, the mind and the knowledge and the left brain thinking and the logic and the reason and the knowledge, and you're epitomizing the feminine, the body and the feeling and the the earth connection, and the earth and the cosmos come together. They meet in the heart.
That's it. And both of us have within us, we're both quite androgynous in a certain kind of way. So it's interesting. So we absolutely personify both of them, but there is an androgyny to both of us, actually. And I've always felt that, you know, and that was partly why I said when I lost my breast, I felt more I never identified in a certain kind of way as a woman or And that too
Interesting.
feels beautiful to me. You know, it feels
Yeah,
very beautiful that we're coming together in a way to forge something new.
yeah,
It is
yeah,
neither one nor the other,
yeah,
nor
yeah.
this nor that, nor this nor that, but something
Meaning.
we don't
Yeah,
know, something we don't
yeah,
know. And I
yeah.
feel again, life is calling. It's
So
calling.
are you traveling around the country with Charlie and putting on these performances?
Well, what we do is like right now he's working with a company in Dundee, you know,
Okay,
so we do our separate work. I'm going off to France to do my teaching
right.
and a little bit of performing, and then we'll meet up
Yeah.
at different times and work together and perform in this
Yeah.
country or in other countries.
Right.
You know, so we do both, and both
Yes.
is important. It's both
Yeah.
important that
Yeah.
we go and come back and go and come
Yeah.
back, you know.
Yeah.
And
So I will put your website link below this.
yeah,
And I'm
okay.
guessing any performances you will list on there, is that right?
I will. I've not been good at it in the past, but
Right.
getting better. And somebody's just
Yeah.
taken over my website, thank goodness, who's like looking after it. And so I'm going to
Good.
get out my new schedule, which includes the work with Charlie, um,
Right.
in
Fantastic.
maybe a few weeks' time. So it'll be up there, you know. And
Yes.
yeah.
There's other exciting things. Someone's making a documentary film about you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's
That's
a
exciting.
filmmaker called Katrina McPherson. She's a dance filmmaker.
Right.
We made a film 20 years ago about my work, and she wanted to make another one now, 20 years later, about where my practices have taken me.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting to do it actually, because there's so much more depth now.
I was going to say a lot's changed or
A lot,
developed in 20 years, hasn't
a
it?
lot. The
Yeah.
seeds are still there, and that's
Yes.
so beautiful to see. The seeds are
Yeah.
blossoming in a way, you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, so yes.
So what a journey you've been on,
Oh my goodness.
Kirstie. It's really amazing to hear your story and
Yeah,
I love how the heart comes in so
yeah,
often and
yeah, yeah,
just that's
yeah,
as you said where it's really leading now is
yeah.
this heart connection, which is amazing. Um
Can I say one quick thing
yes,
about
of
that?
course.
So what
Yeah.
happened for me, why it's been this extraordinary journey is because, you know, I realized I was very lucky when I started to dance, when I started to improvise, not dance, not do the other stuff, but
Yeah.
I recognized some things. I fell in love, deeply in love with what this was and what the potential of it. And I
Right.
followed that from that moment, and I'll never stop until I die. And that's why I say follow your passion. If you find what it is that you are passionate about, that you're curious about, follow
Yeah.
it, follow it, follow it. Like your
Yeah.
life depends on it. Don't
Yeah.
be drawn onto these other pathways. Keep going, keep following. And it's very
So
important.
again, you were listening to your heart, weren't you? And you just followed, you went with it.
I went with it despite everything. You know, I became a university professor. I don't have a degree to my name. I never got a degree. I never went to university. I never took A levels. In those days, it was O and A levels. I knew I
Yeah.
could learn in that context,
Yeah.
but I
But
became a
you
university.
still ended up doing that teaching.
I ended up in a university.
Yes.
It was tough. It was a patriarchal system that was very
Yeah.
hard to exist in, but it was a great challenge.
Yeah, I bet. Well,
Yeah,
another one of these challenges that you relished and
yeah, yeah,
ended up learning from and
yeah,
growing as
yeah.
part of the process.
Because I'd followed my heart, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
That's such
really
an
implore,
important message.
I implore people to do it.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
not to be swayed by what's the new fad and what's the new.
No.
Not,
No.
don't do that. Find what it is that even a little bit of interest in something, pursue
Yeah.
it, you know, and it'll
Yeah.
lead you.
Yeah.
It's the force of life. That is how what life is.
It is just to get on that path, just to put the first step on that path.
Yeah.
Like you say, even just tiny little sparks of interest to just
Yeah.
get on that path and see where it takes you.
And then we strengthen, because then we start to become less swayed by what other people think.
Mm.
You know what I mean? How other people see us. We get less swayed by that. We start to take our own steps, become independent, interestingly enough, independent thinkers, but that brings us together.
Absolutely. Independent thinkers, individuated, but as part of the whole,
Part
isn't
of
it?
the whole and part of the heart, you know,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
pulsing heart, which is life.
Yeah. Yes. These are such inspiring messages, Kirstie. I wondered if you might have, because I know people will be feeling inspired by what you've said. Are there any practices that people could do, very simple ones, perhaps, to bring them more into this?
Yeah.
You call it embodied, what do you call it? Embodied intelligence, where
Yeah.
we're really coming into the wisdom of our bodies. Are there any practices that you teach people that can help with that?
Well, I could just talk us very quickly through how I begin my classes, really,
Yeah.
which is, I get, well, first of all, I always tell that story. Everything you already, you have is everything you will ever need in this life is already inherently present within you. I always start with that. But I will bring people onto the earth and, onto a mat if they're not comfortable lying on the earth. When everybody's down, I say to get very comfortable. Okay. So one of the things that is really nice is to close the eyes, is to start to feel your body sinking into the support of the planet, support of the earth, as if the earth is like these generous hands that are holding you, and you just let yourself go. You let yourself release the tension that holds us above the earth. You start to release. You feel your breath then comes a little bit more, into focus. What I'll do at that point is I'll say the context in which we are all lying here together is that we're on the body of a massive planet. And this is our planet, this is our home, this is Earth, and Earth is turning us very gently through space. So we're being taken on a little journey together. I say at the center of the Earth is a fire, incredible power that is emanating out, pushing out, so that as we breathe in, we're breathing in the power of transformation, the fire of transformation from the center of the earth. We breathe that into our beings. As we breathe out, we can allow our bodies to fall with gravity and to release any kind of complication, worry, things that you're trying to figure out in your lives, anything. Just let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go until the end of your breath. We are breathed by the atmosphere. We don't even do that. We are breathed. So as you breathe in, you breathe in that fire. And just that, focusing on that, what I will do with people is I will sometimes ask them to breathe in as fully as they can in the whole of the torso, from the lower belly to the upper chest. And then I do a little, it's a little hissing sound. And all that does is it lengthens the out breath.
Okay. Right.
So it just deepens the breath. At the end of the breath, there'll be a space. You don't have to grab the in-breath. You just reside in that space. What I feel is as we let go in that way, we literally can kind of disappear into the earth. That's where we regenerate. So we can let go of everything. And then when we re-emerge on the in-breath, we can come out rejuvenated. So the in-breath brings us out, and you can actually start to feel the earth pressing you up on the in-breath. As you release down, you start to feel gravity, you start to feel the earth absorbing you, And I do about 10 of those. You can press your body gently with the out-breath into the earth with the palms of the hands and your spines, just a little bit, and release the arms, release the body on the in-breath. Then you can feel this uplift. So there's an expanding force and a falling and an expanding force. And that's how we come into being. Dissolve, come into being. It helps us release. And then if you want, you can just move your arms. Think about just this thing of exploring all of these beautiful articulations that we have. Soft, touching the air around the body, sometimes releasing the arms into the earth to rest them. You can fold in the legs, and you try to keep it soft. It's harder with the legs because they work so hard for us. They hold a lot more. But that's really how I begin class. And then I'll start people rolling a little bit on the earth. I always say, for most people, the only place that we touch the earth is the soles of our feet. And most of the time they're in shoes.
Yeah.
We sit on the bed, we lie on the bed. Other cultures are actually on the earth. They sit on the earth, they kneel on the earth in Japan. They're much closer. I think we'd be a different culture if we touched the earth a lot more.
I think you're right. So connecting with the earth, getting into the natural rhythm of the earth, the in and the out breath. And yeah, just, I'm guessing just moving, just a bit like, you know, you've been talking about with your work, just allowing the body to move any way it wants to and really sort of getting into that. I'm guessing that just in itself must be a really powerful
It's very
experience.
powerful. It's very powerful. I mean, if you move on the earth like that, you can start to feel how your body is full of liquid. So it's fluid. So you can, and it's a massage. If you
Yeah.
stay soft, you're massaging the back surface of your body on the earth. You could put a little nice music on that's very calm. I would keep it very calm. And then if you want, you can build up from there to sitting, to feeling what it's like to have the spine come out. And the spine, again, is something that moves. It's not straight and held. You want to keep it moving. How do the arms release, you know?
Yes.
And maybe you can come onto the knees, softly, slowly come up onto your legs and see what it's like just to move a little bit again in this field of love. You can imagine there's a field that is holding you, you know? And I would also, you know, when we do it in class situation, you have others to support you, which
Yes.
some way as you're doing it, you could imagine that there are others that are working with you.
Yes.
You know, or you could do it with a friend or something, you know, but
Yeah.
it's vulnerable when you're with others also.
Yes.
You're vulnerable unless someone's guiding you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can get, but something I've started doing in classes, which is really fascinating, is I do a thing where we have a circle and first of all you walk in, you're led in with your eyes closed, you stand and you receive the energy from the group holding the circle. And then you put your hand up, someone will lead you out. And, you know, different people are doing this at different times. And then I say, if there's anyone in your life that you feel needs energy,
Right.
and it could be someone that's already gone, your grandmother or somebody you felt just needed a little more. And you imagine in your mind's eye that you lead them in with you. Again, someone will lead you in with your eyes closed, but you're taking in this person. You stand there and you allow them to receive the energy. And then you put up your hand and then you're led out and you take your friend or your grandmother or what out. And then the third time you go in with your grandmother and you stand there and then you allow your grandmother to dance through you.
Wow.
You allow her voice expressed
Yes.
through your body. And it's incredible what happens.
I bet.
It is really beautiful what happens.
Yeah.
It's a very beautiful thing that happens. And I don't control it. I don't say it's got, you know, buttons for this and for that. I let it be a space of that. And then people share the stories of who they've taken in.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Beautiful. There've been some lovely things, you know, somebody taking the father in and healing the father. You know, simple, but not, you know, what I will never do is package this stuff up and say, this is, you know, this, come to this workshop and you will get this. And I will never do that. It's not the heart. The field of the heart is something else. I'm so sorry, but it is. It is. It's an open space.
Yes.
So
Won't fit into boxes.
it will not fit into boxes, and we are desperate to fit things into.
Oh yeah.
Desperate, so that we can take them, put them in our bags, and take them home with us. Take them home.
I think we feel that's the only way we can understand things, but it isn't. There's another way, which is through sensation and feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is what you're teaching. And you know, we all spend so long just sitting stationary for hours. If we were to just spend more time moving and feeling and connecting with our bodies, we would be very different.
Yes.
Our minds would be different. Everything would be different.
And just noticing that we do care. We really care, noticing that in ourselves, really noticing that, because I think part of it is that we've never given the heart and care and all of that. Really, it's space in life and in our lives. So somewhere we're not turning to those things. Allow yourself to turn, and you'll see that you care so much. And it's vulnerable, but actually it brings its own protection when you start caring.
Yes.
We're worried that if we care that somehow we'll be hurt or something. I don't think so. I think the opposite starts to happen.
That's lovely to hear you say that, because I often talk with Peter and Louise and about how people are challenged by any work to do with the heart, because it does feel like it could be so vulnerable and so painful. But it's lovely to hear you say that it's there's a protection there.
Yes. Well,
There's,
all I can speak from is my experience.
yes,
And my
yeah,
experience has been the more that I've turned towards the heart and care, the more life has really protected me.
right.
And, you know, someone
Mm,
will say, well, you're crazy, you got cancer.
mm,
But I say to them, no, but look what cancer gave to me.
yeah,
So that was also life's care.
yes,
And this is what we have to change.
yeah,
All these ideas, you know, all these
yeah.
hard, it's all hard,
Mm,
hard-edged stuff. We
mm,
have to melt it all.
mm,
We realize, my gosh, we're a
mm.
part of this incredible process. And I do feel the importance of that happening now, and it's happening more and more in the face of the opposite, which also seems to be manifesting the darkness.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. There is a lot of darkness out there at the moment, but I think it's ultimately going to
Already is. I think it already,
awaken our hearts.
it
And so
already is.
it's very challenging, but it's what we need. It's the only thing really that's going to
Yeah.
allow us to come into our hearts.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be that we have to learn through hard lessons.
Yeah, we
Humans,
do.
we don't learn, you know what I mean?
We
When
don't otherwise.
we don't otherwise, you know, there's a
We don't take notice,
complacency
do we?
and arrogance that's been part of our beings for so long.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
someone said in the performance yesterday, it's possible, you know, that suffering is a real initiator of change, and it is.
It absolutely is.
Somehow or other, we have to be humbled through suffering
Mm,
in order to let a
mm,
lot of this.
mm, mm.
But you know, I say we don't have to be. So let's start really opening all of
Yeah,
this up so that people don't have to suffer necessarily.
exactly. Yeah,
Have
yeah.
to undergo well, you know, what I've undergone to start to transform. So there are simple things like starting to really let in, I care, let in that I am loved, let in, you know, start to let all this stuff in, you know, that's
Mm,
and we will transform. We will.
mm.
It's life itself. Life is
It
transformed.
is. It is. Gosh, that's such a lovely conversation, Kirstie. I've absolutely loved it. And
Love.
you are leading the way. You really are. This is the journey we're all on, whether we know
Yeah.
it or not.
Yeah.
And you really are at the forefront of this. And I love how you're bringing the heart into all of this.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited by what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Thank you
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm going to put links below so that people can find you and connect with you, and maybe even come and see one of your performances.
Oh, that would be wonderful. That would
Yes.
be wonderful. And it really propels me to get my website
Yes.
into, into, into good form for people. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Good. Right.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Kirstie, and thank you to
Yeah.
all for watching. And it's been great to have you with us, and look forward to connecting soon. Bye for now.